I just thought, what am I doing? She is quite whiny. The ending just really disappointed me. I literally didn't see that coming. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I figured we could do the mid-year review tag. So I'm gonna go through every book I've read this year, what I've rated them, my general thoughts and feelings. I won't get into too much detail because otherwise this video is going to be super long. And then I'm going to answer like the usual questions that most people answer. So my reading goal for the year is actually 50 books. And as of today, I have officially read 27. Yeah, let's get going. Up first, I actually don't own this book anymore, but this is my only 1-star / DNF of the year, and it was Law of the Wilds. The cover was stunning and the premise sounds really good to me, but I just really struggled to get through it. I actually listened to it as an audiobook because I was struggling to get through it, and I just ended up DNFing it like 40 minutes before the end. I felt like I was torturing myself and I just thought, what am I doing? But yeah, that is my only 1-star and my 1 DNF for the year. So I don't think that's too bad, to be honest. So moving on to 3 stars, I actually have 2 of the Mortal Instrument books. So I've got City of Glass and City of Fallen Angels. I believe I started the series towards the end of last year. I managed to read the first 2 books when I was a teenager. For some reason, never finished it, even though I thought the books were fantastic. I don't know what I was playing at, but I never finished it. And I just thought, I know they are, I believe, on the young adult side, and I just thought if I keep leaving them, I'm probably going to get to an age where I have no interest at all. So I reread the first 2 last year, and I believe I still quite enjoyed those, but the rest of the series were new to me. I did rate both of these 3 stars. I think if I read these when I was like 14, 15, I would have absolutely eaten these up. But unfortunately, I have left them till this long, so I think it is just a product of my age, to be honest. Maybe some people my age love these books. I have no qualms about that, but I think just for me, especially Clary, she does grate my gears a little bit. She is quite whiny, which I don't really have time for, but like I said, I still really enjoyed the stories, really like the characters. I think they are just on the younger side for me, but that is fine. But yeah, 3 stars for these guys. Next up in the 3 stars, I have I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. Now, I know there's quite a lot of mixed reviews about this online. I've seen some people absolutely adore this book, some people hate it, and I've kind of landed in the middle. I really enjoyed reading this, and I was really excited to see where this was going to go. I read this in 1 sitting, I believe, on like a Sunday afternoon, but unfortunately, the ending just really disappointed me. I don't want to spoil anything, but I kind of just didn't get the answers to the questions I had, and I'm not one of those people that is happy with a more open-ended conclusion. I really like finality. I don't want to be left guessing. I don't want to be left coming up with my own theories. That's not for me. So yeah, I think that's most people's bugbear with this book if they read it and didn't like it. But I know some people like the ending of this and the more interpretive conclusion, but not for me. But still, 3 stars, I enjoyed it. What can you do? Then next up, I have The Ministry of Time by Kellyanne Bradley. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This is a sci-fi book, I believe, but it's more sci-fi in terms of time travel rather than space. I actually really enjoyed the concept of this. It's kind of bringing the past into the present and trying to help those individuals adapt to modern society. And so they kind of get paired off with like a mentor who tries to help them adapt. And there's just sort of like trials and things to get through with everyday life and adjusting to modern day England. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really liked the characters. Some were really funny and witty. I think it just didn't get any more stars from me because it just didn't really like grip me. So I enjoyed it, but I was never like, oh my God, I can't wait to find out what happens next. It was more just like, oh, this is fun. But I really enjoyed it nonetheless. 3 stars. That's not a bad rating for me. That's just like good. Not excellent, nothing crazy, but yeah, I still enjoyed it. And then next up I have Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Now, I kind of put myself on this mission to try and read more classics because I feel like for someone that really loves reading, I read like predominantly nothing but fantasy. I've kind of changed it up this year because I figured I should branch out. And I know this is one that people talk about quite a lot, so I thought I'd give it a go. I did really enjoy this. It was quite spooky. Like, I did read the blurb and it did obviously explain the premise of what was going to happen in here, but it did really unnerve me, sort of seeing what boys would get up to if left to their own devices. I did have an inkling of how it would go, but obviously having it laid out for you, it is quite unsettling, which I actually did quite enjoy reading about. Obviously in practice, I wouldn't want it, but in theory, I did enjoy it. It was very easy to read. It flowed really well. There were a few points where I was a bit confused, but I think I'm just not super into literature that I really have to think about. So I think it lost me in a few spots. I kept like sort of rereading parts and I was like, no, I'm just not understanding it. So I just moved on. But I did enjoy the rest of it. Piggy, what a sweetheart. If you've read the book, you'll understand. I do believe there is a TV series. It's either completely new or it's a remake. I really haven't looked into it, so please don't shoot me. But I think I'm going to watch that and see how it compares. Let me know if you want me to film it, because yeah, I haven't seen any of the clips from it, so I'd be going in completely blind. I do think the pacing was really good. Like, don't get me wrong, this isn't like a super long book. I think it's like just under 300 pages, 270, something like that. But yeah, there was never like a dull moment, like something was always happening. I did like the sort of multiple POVs of like following the different boys around the island, sort of seeing what they're getting up to. Yeah, overall, had a good time. Didn't blow me out the water, but I'm glad I read it. Next up, we have Brimstone by Callie Hart. So this is a sequel to Quicksilver. Yes, which I read, I think that was my very first book of last year. And I think I gave that a 3 or 4 star. No, I think I gave it a 5 star. I think I really enjoyed that one. This one I gave a 3 star, not because it was bad. I just don't think it really like scratched the itch for me, to be honest. I think the first book, don't get me wrong, I don't think there's anything revolutionary. I think there was a lot of things that I've seen done in other books. I just liked the way it was written. It kept me hooked and entertained. And this one wasn't bad by any means. I just don't think anything crazy happened that kept me like on the edge of my seat and wanting to read more. I mean, don't get me wrong, things did happen. I've had some fantasies literally have me like sitting up in bed, gasping, like smacking Ryan because I'm literally like, oh my God, what is happening? This didn't do that for me. I still really enjoyed it. I love the side characters, the found family. There's a lot of banter in these books, which I enjoy, but it just didn't blow me away. So next up, I'm gonna lump these together because I kind of read them back to back, but I have the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. Now, some people might be surprised I only gave these 3 stars because these are quite highly rated books in the book community. I see a lot of people giving them 4 stars, 5 stars, and absolutely loving them. I enjoyed them. I just don't think they sort of hit the way they do for most people. Not saying they're bad by any means. Do you know what it is? I just feel like I compare everything to like Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, Crescent City, and they kind of just set the bar really high. So unless something gives me that like Kingdom of Ash feeling, yeah, they kind of get a lower rating, which is not their fault. I'm just a Sarah J Maas stan when it comes to her books, unfortunately. And her books have just set the bar. They're so pretty. I wish I loved them more. But yeah, these books, 3 stars, nothing crazy, still enjoyed them. I'm glad I've done it. And they get to live on my shelf and look very pretty. All right, that was actually the last of my 3 stars. So moving on to 4 stars, this is definitely where the majority of my books have landed throughout the year. That means I've pretty much loved them. They were all just missing that little something that would have given them a 5 star, but 4 stars is a great rating. It's basically amazing. It's just not changed my life, basically. So that's what 4 stars is for me. That might be different for other people, but 4 stars is basically like, loved it. Did it change my life? No. So we'll begin. So first up we have To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast. So I absolutely love the concept behind this book. It's basically a world where everyone who commits a crime in this place, they all get sent to the same prison. And they basically get given a rating. I think it's based on their like notoriety, I think. Sort of like if you're like a big time drug dealer or you're just like petty theft, I think that skews your rating. And then the rich people can actually come and pay to hunt the prisoners. So there's hunts a few times a day. and the prisoners have no say. You get chucked into this sort of arena. The rich people are given equipment, they can pay to add things or upgrade their weapons to track down these prisoners. So the prisoners have no way of defending themselves. They're not allowed to attack the rich people. They can defend themselves if attacked, but essentially the aim is to reach this sort of center point, or like this tree, and once you've reached the tree, you are safe to live another day. So essentially our main character commits a crime on purpose in order to end up in this prison because her brother has landed himself in here and she wants to break him out. So she's just sort of trying to survive, trying to come up with a plan to get her brother out of here because no one ever leaves this place. I really enjoyed the found family in this. Some of the prisoners sort of band together. They all want out. They're all trying to come up with this plan to get out of here. And there is a love interest. There are twists and turns. The only reason I didn't give this a 5-star is because I did see some of the plot twists coming. It didn't take me completely by surprise. I do think personally it was a bit cookie cutter in terms of it was quite easy to figure out who the love interest would be before they became the love interest. And I know it's probably hard to keep people on their toes these days, but I think 'cause I've read so many fantasies, you can kind of tell who it's going to be before it's revealed just by the way they're described. So I think that kind of just took me out of it a little bit. So I could kind of see where things were going, but overall, I loved it. Next up in the 4 stars, I have City of Lost Souls and City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. So these are the last 2 books in the Mortal Instruments series. And again, 4 stars obviously mean I really enjoyed these. I thought it was a great conclusion to the books. There was quite a few things that happened that I didn't expect to, and I really liked how they were sort of woven in there. Yeah, overall, I'm really glad to have finished this series. I can officially like tick it off. It was on my sort of to-do list forever since I've been a teenager. So I'm glad I've finished this now. But yeah, 4 stars, really enjoyed it. Just a little bit young for me, which is probably why it didn't hit 5 stars for me. And then next up, I've obviously got the Harry Potter series. So I've got all but 1 book in here, so you can probably figure out where the last one is. But I have Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. I've never read these before, but the movies are like childhood staples of mine. And for some reason, I just never got around to reading the books. I don't know if it was just an age thing where I was young enough that the movies were coming out. So then I'd never got around to reading the books first, which kind of used to be a thing for me. I used to really struggle to read books after I'd seen the movie or TV show, but I thought it has to be done. The only reason these guys weren't 5 stars, they are made for kids. You always find these in the kids section, but because they are just that little bit young for me, they just didn't hit home. But I'm so happy I've read these, and I'll gladly take these off my list. Next up, I have Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey, I want to say. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I read this when I was in a bit of a book slump. I needed something different. I've read quite a lot of romantasy and fantasy back to back, and I thought, I'll give a thriller a go. I think this was advertised as a thriller or kind of like mystery. It wasn't scary by any means. It was just more like something's going on here. And it was quite interesting. She got every single person's POV and no one really revealed anything too crazy along the way. So you were kind of left on the edge of your seat the whole time without your questions being answered until right at the very end. And I didn't see any of the plot twists coming. I thought I was ahead of it. I thought, yeah, I know what's going on here. I had no idea. And I loved that. The fact that I got it all wrong. I love being proven wrong because I'm quite good at sussing stuff out before it happens. So the fact they kept me on my toes, loved it. The only reason it didn't get 5 stars is because there were just a few bits where I was kind of like a bit bored. I felt like it was dragging a little bit, but the next chapters always kind of pulled it back and got straight back on track. So 4 stars. So next up in the 4 stars, I have The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Apologies if I've said that wrong, but this is another fantasy book that I've really enjoyed. Obviously that's why I gave it 4 stars, but it was just quite a refreshing read. So a lot of these worlds are set in like typical Western cultures, and this was sort of set in like Northern Africa, more Arabic countries, Arabic cultures. Yeah, like this is initially set in Cairo, so that in itself is just a breath of fresh air, like a different setting altogether. And the magic system, I believe, is based on their culture. It was just nice to see like a totally different magic system. I know that this is probably covered in other books set in these places, but mainstream books tend to not be. So it was nice to see just something else, something different. The names being different, the places, the magic system. The sort of magical groups you have in this world aren't sort of like fae and fairies. It's like jinn and spirits. I think I'm saying that right. D-G-I-N-N, jinn. But it was just nice to read about something totally different. I really liked the characters again. Some of the plot twists kept me on my toes. Others I kind of sniffed out, but overall, I had a really good time. And then we have The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. So I believe... I've only just pieced together they're the same author. I am an idiot. Yes, this is a great book. I loved pirates growing up. Pirates of the Caribbean is like one of my favorite and still is one of my favorite franchises. And I've never read a pirate fantasy before. And when I saw this on the shelf, I mean, the cover is absolutely stunning. I knew I had to pick this up. It's basically about a sort of retired, renowned female pirate getting tempted back into the sort of throes of it all. She needs money. There's someone that has a job for her and it's super risky and she accepts. And it's kind of just following her through how she navigates all that. Like she has a family to look after that can't come with her. She's got an ex-husband that causes issues, but it's basically her sort of rekindling with her team, fighting against enemies and all that good stuff. So I just had a really good time. I don't think there's anything I can pinpoint as to why it wasn't a 5-star. It just didn't give me that sort of like soul-crushing feeling that I normally reserve for 5 stars. So 4 stars, still loved it, still had a great time. Next up is one of my most recent reads. It is Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. So I'm currently filming a separate video for this where I read it and then I watch it because I was completely new to both of them. I finished this recently, really enjoyed it. So I haven't read many gay or sapphic books before. I have read Red, White and Royal Blue, which I've really enjoyed. So I've obviously seen all the hype around the TV show, but then when I went into the works the other day, I saw this for a £5 and thought, I might as well. I haven't seen it yet, so it'd be cool to compare. I really enjoyed it. Their relationship was really cute. Don't get me wrong, there's a hell of a lot of spice in this. It is not a cute, fluffy romance. If you don't like spice, this is not for you. But I really enjoyed it. It was really sweet. And it read super easily. I'm excited to watch the TV show. Next we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I actually listened to this as an audiobook and I loved it. I haven't really read many sci-fi. That's kind of a genre I'm still exploring. I did read Project Hail Mary last year and I think that's my favourite book. One of my favourite books of all time at this point, if not my favourite. The movie, don't get me started. Rocky breaks my heart. I love him so much. But yeah, Red Rising, I have heard so much about this. I know that a lot of people love this series and I was a little bit intimidated to start it. I don't know why. I listened to this as an audiobook and I loved it. The narrator had an Irish accent. I haven't actually looked too much into the author of this. I'm gonna assume he's Irish. He might not be. I will do my research afterwards. But hearing an Irish accent narrate a book was just so refreshing. I don't know why more characters aren't sort of based from other places outside of like the English accent or the American accent, because it was just really nice to listen to. The concept of it, fantastic. The audiobook kept me engrossed the entire time. I think the only reason I didn't give it a 5-star is because in some places I had to like really focus to remember what was going on. I didn't listen to the audiobook like completely back to back, so that might be my doing as to why it's not a 5-star, because I did sort of have to be like, oh, that's where we are. And that's what's going on. There was a few names I kept forgetting, so it might just be user error rather than the book, but I think I will actually be continuing this series. I wasn't sure if I was going to when I was sort of reading it, but now that I've done it, I'm intrigued to see what happens next. And finally, onto my 5 stars. So I do actually only have 3 books here. So I've now said my 5 stars need to be like life-changing. Some of these I'm going to show you and you're going to be like, right, but in the moment, I just had a fantastic time, or I haven't stopped thinking about them since, or they caught me completely off guard. I'll explain as I go, but First up, we have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. So the entire series was in 4 stars, but this one, I just loved it. I mean, I don't know what it was that tipped it over the edge, but I think when I finished it, I just had that like, ah! Ah! What was I saying? I think I was finished with this. Yeah, we'll move on. What do you want? Next up, we have Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. This book really took me by surprise. George, I'm watching you. I haven't seen many reviews on this, at least since I've read it. There was probably a lot more when this came out, but I avoided them because I kind of like to go in with no sort of preconceptions. But since I've finished this, I haven't really seen it mentioned anywhere, at least not where I've been looking. But this really took me by surprise. I actually predicted this to be a 3-star and it ended up being a 5-star. I think purely for the fact that it actually kept me on my toes and took me by surprise. That really adds points in my books because, like I've mentioned a couple times, I'm quite good at predicting things. So the fact that I genuinely didn't know what was going on until it happened, like that actually really took me by surprise. There were a few plot twists right at the end and they literally had me like sitting up in my bed. I literally didn't see that coming at all. And I was actually like gobsmacked, like my jaw was literally hanging open. So I don't know what the general consensus is with most people, but purely for the fact that I had no idea the plot twist was coming, this is a 5-star from me. And then the last book might actually come as a bit of a surprise because it is not a fantasy, it is not a sci-fi, it's nothing crazy or outlandish. It is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Buckman. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. This just really surprised me. I've never read Frederick Backman before. I do have Beartown on my TBR, which I specifically went out looking for and bought it. And then I saw this at a car boot sale for 50p and I thought, why not? I've heard nothing but great things about his writing. And this was the first book I've read of his and I absolutely loved it. Basically, it's a book just following a grumpy old man that wants to commit suicide because his wife's passed away and she was his world. So it does deal with some really heavy topics, obviously about suicide and mental health issues, but this was one of the funniest books I think I've ever read. I've been reading solidly like adult books for like going on 4 years now. I read a lot as a kid and as a teenager, but this is one of the funniest things I've ever read. I was literally laughing the entire time. I was constantly stopping to quote things to Ryan because I needed someone to sort of understand what I was reading. He's obviously super grumpy. He hates people. He wants to be left alone. He wants to commit and life just keeps getting in the way. The neighbors keep getting in the way. A cat gets in the way. And it's just like one of the most beautiful things I've ever read. And honestly, it literally had me crying with tears of laughter, crying with sadness. Like it literally had me on the full roller coaster and I just fucking loved it, to be honest. I can't wait to read the rest of his stories. I think the way that he writes really scratches an itch in my brain. I think Ellen Catherine, who now no longer has a YouTube channel, but she does still have her Instagram, she just said his writing is really staccato, like it's quite blunt. And I didn't really know what she meant until I read it, but I completely agree. It's quite short and sweet and blunt in the best way possible. There's no fluff, there's no excessive details. He's just saying it. His insults are so creative. The way he describes things is so creative, but nothing ever seems like unnecessary or like it's been thrown in. It all just really works and I love his style of writing. I actually have started Beartown because I just needed to read more of his stuff. I know there's a movie adaptation, I think with Tom Hanks, called A Man Called Otto. I need to watch it because I need to see this come to life. I think I finished this in May, maybe the very start of June, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. I think this is going to be up there with one of my favourite books of the year because it just cracked me up. It just cracked me up. I loved his character development. I thought it was just such a sweet story of how like people just need to be kinder to each other, check on their neighbours more. And it was just really inspiring, to be honest. So yeah, that is my final book that I've read this year. And it was a 5-star. So that is all the books I've read. Now we're going to move on to the actual like tag questions that people answer. I have George with me and he's feeling very needy right now. You know, right, bud? So we'll start with an easy one. So what was your best book of the year? And I think if you didn't gather from my lengthy explanation, A Man Called Ove. I've said enough on this. Favourite book of the year so far. Hopefully we find a book that tops it, because I don't want to have achieved my favourite book of the year in May/June, but if it doesn't get topped, that is also okay, because it was a great book. And then worst book of the year, I think it's pretty self-explanatory that Law of the Wilds was my least favourite book. 1 star, DNF. It's already been donated. I don't even own the book anymore, so that's how much I disliked it. What is the best sequel I have read? I think I'm actually gonna go with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I don't know if sequel exclusively means just the second book, or if it includes every book after the first one. I don't really care. I think, going off the top of my head, I'm gonna pick Prisoner of Azkaban, because I think there was quite a lot left out of the film that was in this book, and it wasn't anything, I think, revolutionary, but I think there was just a lot of sweet things that should have been included in the film. Like Crookshanks is actually super helpful in this book. If you've read it, you'll understand why. I'm hoping that gets shown more when the TV adaptation comes out, but Crookshanks and Sirius have the sweetest relationship in this book. And I know there's probably bigger and better things in the rest of the series that should have stuck with me more. You know, Ron sort of having some bigger moments that sort of overshadowed by Hermione in the film, but for some reason, Crookshanks just having this really sweet bond with Sirius just really stuck with me. So I'm gonna pick this. Worst sequel I've read this year. I mean, I don't think I've read anything bad other than Law of the Wilds being a 1 star. I enjoyed reading every other book that I had on my TBR. So I think, just for argument's sake, I'm not gonna get it out. I can't be bothered. It's right there. I think I'm just gonna pick Brimstone, not because it was bad, but I think just because I gave the first book 5 stars makes it the worst. I don't think it was a bad book by any means. I think I just really enjoyed Quicksilver, and Brimstone was okay. What was my biggest surprise? I think I'm gonna pick Metal Slinger, purely for the plot twists I described earlier. I really thought this was gonna be like mediocre, average read, and I ended up giving it a 5 star, so I think that's gonna be my answer for that. And then biggest disappointment, I'll probably just give it again to Law of the Wilds. I don't think I had like super high hopes going in reading it, but I think the fact that I DNF'd it is enough in itself. Who is your new favourite author? Aside from Frederick Buckman, what is this? I think I'm gonna pick Shannon Chakraborty, purely for the fact that I've read 2 of her books this year and gave both 4 stars. I think that says a lot about her writing, the fact that I didn't know they were the same person, but I gave 4 stars to both of them. Obviously, I have read the Harry Potter series this year. J.K. Rowling has her own issues, so I'm not gonna put her up there, but I did like the books regardless. And then next up we have a book that made me cry. Wild Darkshore. If you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about, but the ending just really got to me. I wasn't expecting this book to make me cry. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's kind of just a sacrifice one of these characters makes towards the end of the book, and it just really pulled on my heartstrings. I didn't think it was going to get to me that bad. I didn't actually cry reading it. It was only when Ryan asked me why I was so sad and I had to explain what had happened that I started crying. And I don't think I've ever cried post-reading. I normally cried during, but yeah, I guess that's my answer. And then I have a book that made me happy. Honestly, a lot of these books were pretty feel-good, but I'm gonna pick Heated Rivalry. I'm not normally a sucker for romances, but I think because I haven't read one in so long, and these two's relationship, I actually just really loved it. I think they were super cute. One of them is a bit more like aloof and the other one's a bit more head over heels, but I think they're just super cute together. Their banter was really great. It does span over, I want to say 10 years. So the relationship is quite on and off, but whenever they get together, I just love it. Just really made me smile. Next up, we have Most Beautiful Book Bought or Received this year. Now, I am kind of on a self-inflicted buying ban, so I haven't actually bought that many books this year. So I think I'll just pick from one I've already read, and I will pick The Adventures of Amina Al Sarafi. I think it's just such a gorgeous book. Right, so that is all of the questions done with the books I've read so far this year, but we do have another 6 months of reading to get through. So one of the questions is, what books do I want to read by the end of the year? I think I'll definitely squeeze in another 25 or so, but I think I definitely want to read the Mistborn trilogy, which you can see right here. I've never read any Brandon Sanderson, but he's an author I've definitely had my eye on for a while. He's got quite a vast universe of books, so it seems like quite a commitment to get into. And I believe Mistborn's the best way to get into it. So I've just bought those 3 and we'll start there. But I've heard nothing but fantastic things about them. So I've put them on my list of 26 books or 25 books I want to read in 2026, but all 3 of them are on there. So I really want to get round to reading those before the end of the year. What else have I got? Another one I want to read is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Again, it's a book that has been highly, highly recommended by Ellen Catherine. She was one of my favorite YouTubers. She now no longer has a channel, like I mentioned earlier, but I believe she had like 3 different editions of the book. She's got tattoos of the book, and I view her opinions very highly. So that's definitely up there. I would also love to get round to Alchemized. I do own it. It is just so intimidating, like the sheer size of it. It is massive. I believe it is based on Manacled, or it's been like tweaked. I am really intrigued to read it. I haven't actually read Manacled. I do have it on my Kindle, and I believe it's the same author and the same book, but sort of rewritten for it to not include any of the Harry Potter world or characters. But yeah, the sheer size of it's just intimidating, and I think if I don't read it this year, it's gonna keep going to the back of my list. So I want to challenge myself to get that read before the end of the year. And then what are some of my 5-star predictions? So I do have The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which I want to get round to. I believe that's going to be a 5-star. I have heard nothing but extraordinary things about that book. It sounds like it's heartbreaking. It's going to make me cry, but that's what a good book does. So I think that's definitely going to be a 5-star. As I said, I want to get around to the Mistborn trilogy. I think that's going to be 5 stars as well. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I think that's going to be 5 stars. I do also have The Book Thief. I've never seen the movie, but I believe it's a historical fiction set in sort of Nazi Germany time. And I just feel like that's going to have quite a deep impact on me. So I think that will get a 5-star. And I have also just bought Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Atmosphere came very highly recommended by one of my best friends, Erin. She loved it, cried reading it, got her girlfriend to read it. She cried reading it. I don't think I've heard anything negative about this book from anyone. I don't currently have it on my like official TBR because I'm going to film a whole separate video because I bought that quite recently, and I've got a few other books that need to go on my shelf as well. So that's why that one's not visible up there at the moment. But yeah, Erin's read it, recommended it. I trust her opinion and she loved it. So, but yeah, that is every question that I have for the mid-year tag. Hope you guys have had a good first 6 months of the year. Let me know how you've gotten on with your reading. Have you read everything you wanted to? Are you ahead on your target? Are you behind on your target? Let me know in the comments. If you guys want more current updates on what I'm reading and what I'm getting up to, then follow me on Goodreads because I post on there every time I'm starting a book, reading a book, finished a book, all that good stuff. So all of my links will be in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.